Field of 68 After Dark. Welcome in. Field of 68 After Dark here on a Tuesday, February 3rd edition of the show. We're on YouTube. We're on Sirius XM. We're on X. Lots of college basketball to get to tonight as we slowly but surely make our jaunt to March, right? We're getting there every single day. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by co-founder of Field of 68, Rob Dauster, and the coach, Norm Roberts. Gentlemen, good to be with you. As you guys know, every show that Rob is on, we are contractually obligated to begin with the UConn Huskies. And it's a good night. I think, Rob plans these out. He's always like, all right, what night is UConn going to absolutely shit kick somebody in the Big East and make sure I'm on that night? That's what happened. 92-60 in favor of the Huskies tonight against Xavier. Started with a 10-0 kill shot, and it was off and running from there, Rob. Just another dominant performance by the UConn Huskies tonight against Xavier.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nice to see them kind of get this thing going on the offensive end of the floor. That's kind of been the knock on them, right? Like they play so well defensively. They you can't score on them. They make you work clock. You can't get good shots. They run you off the three-point line, but they haven't been able to find kind of that rhythm on the offensive end of the floor, the ability to get out and transition. They've been kind of reliant on being able to get stuff directly out of scheming it through their offense and relying on Silas Demery to get a paint touch and get an open shot for someone. And now that Braylon Mullins is back, now that Silas has kind of figured things out here, I think he's been probably the best point guard in the Big East over the course of the last about 6 weeks. I think he's really figured out his role within this offense, and that opens up everything else, man. His ability to get to the foul line, his ability to draw defenders in to create open shots. I wasn't quite to the point where I was worried, but I was wondering when it was going to happen, right? There was a while there where every game they were playing in a Big East that frankly is really not all that good ended up being like a 1 or 2 possession game late. They couldn't run away from teams. They couldn't put their foot down on them. And that's what they've done these last 2 games. That's what they did at Creighton. That's what they did at Xavier. And Norm, I'll tell you this, if this is going to be the UConn that we see offensively as we head towards the last month of the regular season, that's when it becomes scary for opponents. That is what you need from UConn if they're going to be a national championship contender.
Yeah, they're dangerous. They're really, really dangerous. I mean, tonight, Ball and Carabon just had decent games. I mean, they were just kind of out there, and Reed and Ryba inside dominate. I think they were 12 or 13 from the floor. And you got 2 big guys dominating like that in the lane, and then obviously Silas going 17 points and 8 assists. He was terrific, and now they got Mullins running in transition, scoring off the bounce as well as the catch. They're going to be extremely dangerous, and then defensively they held Xavier to like 37% field goal percentage shooting the ball. So they're guarding, they're running people off the line, they're physical, they're scoring inside and out. Right now, they're trending to be, one of the best teams going into the NCAA tournament. I don't know if anybody in the Big East can beat them. I know St. John's is got a good team, and they're playing well and they're defending well. But if they get everybody scoring and hitting on all cylinders, watch out for UConn.
Yeah, Xavier, coach, was just drawing dead in this one, man. I mean, it was just DOA for them. They were out-rebounded by 17. They were outscored 46-20 in the paint. It just felt like there was a physicality gap, and that's probably going to be the case for a lot of teams that UConn plays, but you could really see that tonight.
Yeah, the thing that makes
it was
them
different.
Yeah, go ahead, Norm.
You got it, Rob. You got it.
Well, I was going to say the thing that makes them such a difficult matchup when you get to March is that you look at the rest of the teams kind of at the top of college basketball right now. Michigan, they play 2, sometimes 3 bigs, right? Arizona plays 2 bigs. Duke wants to play 2 bigs. Iowa State wants to play 2 bigs. Illinois is at their best when they play 2 bigs, right? Houston wants to play 2 bigs. Florida wants to play 2 bigs. And Purdue wants to play 2 bigs. Michigan State wants to play 2 bigs. I just went through the top 10 teams right there on KenPom. And what UConn makes you do on the offensive end is one of those big guys has to find a way to be able to chase around Alex Caravan. And that creates a situation where they have an advantage on the offensive end when teams when he's making those shots and he's pulling big guys away from the basket. And he's been so far this year physical enough where he can hold his own on the defensive end and hold his own on the glass, and they end up being able to win those matchups. And I think that's what will allow them to have cause problems against some of the best teams in the sport. And I don't know how many teams have the ability to be able to do that. Like when you look at what they're running with their best five out there, you got Silas Demery, who's playing the best basketball of the season right now. You got Terrace Reed, who's probably been their best player overall for the whole year, either him or Caravan. And then you got three guys who are lethal running off of all of those screens that UConn likes to have them set. And the issue has just been like they're getting the shots they want. They haven't been going down. And now 3 straight games, they've made double-digit threes. 3 straight games, they've scored more than 1.2 points per possession. If that starts happening, if those shots start going down, if all these open looks that they create in their sets are going in, then that's when it becomes something where like, okay, this is we've been saying we've been waiting for UConn to kind of click and hit that high gear. The last 3 games we've seen them on the offensive end hit that high gear.
Coach Roberts, now the question I think really becomes, and you kind of hit on it, is, and we'll probably get the biggest test on Friday night against St. John's, but is this UConn team going undefeated in the Big East? I think right now the probability is hovering around 13%.
Don't jinx it.
So
don't jinx it.
If you had to bet right now, would you bet on them running the table in the Big East, or would you say they get tripped up here by somebody?
I would bank on it. I would bank on it because I'm not sure St. John's can score enough. I'm not sure if they can score enough. Now, the one thing that could happen with St. John's is Hopkins can run around with Caravan. He can guard him. You know what I'm saying? He's got the athleticism, the speed to guard him as being a too big lineup for St. John's. But they're going to have to get some type of consistent shooting. I'm talking about St. John's now. They're going to have to get some type of consistent shooting from Ian Jackson to score the ball. Him and Sellers have got to shoot the ball well for them. Now, UConn has an advantage now because Darling at the point for St. John's, even though he's tough and all that stuff, I don't think he's the same player Demery is. And Demery should be able to physically get in the lane and cause havoc for St. John's because, he's so strong.
I will say this, Rob, like, and I don't feel like it's a good thing that we're talking about UConn going undefeated in the Big East, by the way. Like, I think that's more of UConn's obviously a championship contender, but like this conference needs to be better than this. Like, there's just no doubt about that.
So I agree with you there. You're right about that. But the one thing that I would push back on is that, one, they were tested. Like they tested themselves in non-conference play. They played Arizona, they played Illinois, they played Florida, they played Kansas at Kansas, and they played BYU. Right, that's about as good of a 5 games as you're going to find in non-conference play. And the other thing is that it might not be against great teams, but they're kind of battle tested here. They've probably played more close games down the stretch in league play than a lot of these other teams that are championship contenders. And when you throw in what they played in some of these battles that they had in non-conference play, like I don't know if there is a group right now outside of like Purdue and the teams that have been together for 2 or 3 years. I don't know if there's a group that has experienced more important possessions, regardless of the caliber of opponent, more important possessions than UConn has. And that's why I feel like even when they haven't been playing well, the reason I've been kind of bullish on them is their defense is going to keep them in games, right? You're not going to run them off the floor. You're not going to run them off the court. They're too good defensively to be able to do that. And they figured out a way to be able to execute in big moments and get layups. Like, that's the one thing about them is they're not relying on kind of isolation at the end of a clock, at the end of a shot clock. I think the reason why they're able to win in close games is because they run all these sets and they have counters to their counters to their counters that will allow you to, or allow them to be able to get a shot like right at the rim, a backdoor cut, a slip here, a seal for Terrace Reed. So when they need a bucket, they're able to get a layup out of it. And I think that's what has kind of been the reason why they've been able to win these close games. And when you can do all of that, and you also combine the fact that like now all of a sudden they figured out how to be able to score, that's when it becomes something where it's like, okay, this is why people were as bullish on them at the start of the season as they were.
Yeah, absolutely. So UConn continues its win streak up to 18 games. Obviously, huge night on Friday against St. John's. I believe if no one else has an additional thought here, this will conclude the UConn hour portion of the show. I mean, unless we have to come back to them in the afters or something. But let's move on to another contender that was in action tonight. Not quite as dominant. Did not dispose of their opponent in the same dominant way, but did ultimately get the job done. Duke wins 67-49. They moved to 21-1. Cam Boozer had 19 points. Coach Roberts, let me specify Coach Roberts. I know I have two coaches on the show here, but for Coach Roberts, obviously psychologically it could be a little bit of a challenge. Sometimes you're coming up against an underperforming team in conference. You're rolling. And so, again, it's a double-digit win. They were favored by 26.5. It was a huge number, but kind of felt like a ho-hum Duke win tonight.
It was. They're actually, you can almost see like they're bored. They were bored. They knew they could dominate the game whenever they wanted to. I think Boston College did a good job of cutting it to like 12. And then they said, okay, we're going to throw it 2 times in a row off the block to Boozer. Go score. And he did. He just went and got a bucket and just scored. And Duke is just totally dominating that league. Totally dominating that league. And it'll be interesting to see if UNC can give them a really, really good game. And I think they can. I think they can. Now, UNC's guards need to play really well, but Duke's just, they've got so many different guys that can help them win. Isaiah Evans wasn't great tonight, but he can make big shots. They got Czar, who comes in the game defensively. I think Brown is as important to their team as almost any player. That guy comes in the game and he changes it totally defensively with his energy, his ability around the basket. He's catching lobs. He's a really good passer. They've got a lot of options there that help their team, but they're totally dominating the ACC right now. Totally dominating it.
Yeah, Rob, I think it's literally the same question. I mean, with them, the ACC, right? I mean, they got North Carolina on Saturday, and if they win that, they're probably going to be favorites to go undefeated in that league.
Yeah, I mean, they also have Michigan coming up too. That I think that game is played in DC on February 21st, which will be one where I think a lot of people are going to be tuning in. You got those two brands playing on a Saturday
Huge
in
game.
February.
Huge game.
Shout out to John Shire and Dusty May for scheduling that, because that is a great thing for college basketball. Like that, that's going to do numbers. I think a lot of TV executives will be happy about that. But my thing with Duke is I feel like because they don't have the same kind of hype as last year, right? They don't have Cooper Flagg. They don't have Con Knipple. They don't have these guys that kind of get you excited to watch them play. It feels like they've kind of flown under the radar when what they are doing is really not all that dissimilar from what they did last season, right? They have turned into there were some questions early on in the season about what they were defensively, and over the course of the last month, they've turned into one of the best defensive teams in the sport. They have the guy that is probably going to end up being the National Player of the Year in Cam Boozer. They have a coach in John Shire, and Norm, I don't know if you agree with me on this, but I think that he is he's going to be the next guy that we talk about in that the kind of like the Bill Self and the John Calipari and the Tom Izzo and the Roy, like he's going to be that guy. He's not leaving anywhere in college. Like if he gets an NBA job, he gets an NBA job, but he's going to be at Duke for If he wants to be at Duke for 40 years, he'll be at Duke for 40 years. And I'd be shocked if he doesn't win multiple championships there. I love what he does. I love the way that he coaches. And I think that we are going to consistently see Duke as one of these teams in the top 3, 5, 7 in the national title race as long as he is there.
Norman, any thoughts there? I mean, obviously that's, easier said than done in this business, as you well know.
Yeah, I agree. I think him and Dusty May, those two guys are gonna skyrocket. They're gonna skyrocket. They got great demeanors as coaches. They're a players coach. They really get along with their guys, but they also command discipline, structure. This is how we're gonna play. They both have great staffs. I think John's done an unbelievable job there and allowing those guys to play with freedom as well as keeping them structured as Dusty does at Michigan. And I just think their talent level is just so much better than everybody else in the ACC. They're deep. They can play different styles. That'll be an interesting game with them in Michigan, though, because Michigan's got that size, and that size will bother Boozer. That will bother Booster. They won't be able to dominate inside like they can do in the ACC versus Michigan. That'll be a tough haul. So they're going to need those perimeter guys to make plays and make shots.
Yeah, Isaiah Evans, I believe, chipped in with 12 tonight. So, you'd like to maybe see those numbers go up. But, Rob, I mean, what amazes me about Duke is just the effortlessness of his 19 and 12 nights. It's just like he's getting out of bed, and that's what he's going to have. And again, it's different to the NBA conversation because that's more about upside as opposed to like what you are. But for this, and that's why he's obviously the presumptive favorite for Player of the Year, is that he's walking out of bed and he's giving you 19 and 12 in his sleep.
And all he does is win. Like I would love. I can't remember who mentioned this the other day, but I would love to see his overall win-loss record since he's been a freshman in high school, at the high school level, at the EYBL level, and now at the college level, right? Like all that dude does is win. That's all he does. Is he just finds a way to win. And Norm, I hear you when it comes to the stuff about the length, because he is not like the most toolsy guy in the world, right? Like he's not jumping over cars. He doesn't have this ridiculous wingspan, but he makes the right play. He is solid at everything that he does. He feels to me like modern Kevin Love, right? Kevin Love, when he was coming up, what a power forward was is kind of like the guy that makes some threes, gets a whole bunch of rebounds and scores in the post. Whereas now the modern power forward is a guy that has to be a little bit more perimeter oriented. He can operate in some ball screens, but still rebounds, is switchable defensively. Like I don't see a situation where he gets to the NBA. Like I think he's 20, 10, and 4 assists in the NBA for the next decade and a half, right? I think we look up in 2040 and he's still out there averaging like 18 points and 8 rebounds.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. So go ahead, Norm.
I think he's a little bit like, now he may be more athletic, or I'm not sure. He's probably not as big. I think he's a little bit like Karl Malone. I think he's like Karl Malone.
I don't hate it.
Where that Karl Malone got to the point that he can make that 15-footer and that's that roll, score inside. I think he's a little bit like that. And he can shoot
That's
threes.
That's an old school comp there, Coach. I like it.
Yep.
They don't. Karl Malone doesn't get compared to anybody these days, man.
I know. Beast. That was a beast back in the day. You kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely. So Duke rolls, UConn rolls. I think there's a program and a coach that we might be taking for granted. I really do. And what they've done this year and what they've done the last 4 games. We'll get into that when we get back. Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app, You sign up using bonus code FIELD. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today. If you're not a member of the Field of 68's On3 community, make sure to go check us out. Get access to all of Jeff Goodman and Rob Dauster's written content, including coaching carousel breakdowns, info on who is and isn't entering the transfer portal, insider recruiting information from none other than Joe Tipton, X's and O's analysis of all the teams in college basketball, and access to our message board community. A 7-day trial costs you $1. The Field of 68 on 3. Get the scoop.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark, Tuesday, February 3rd edition of the show. I'm John Martin, hanging out with my guys, Rob Dauster and Coach Norm Roberts. And speaking of coaches, one in particular that I think we need to discuss a little more maybe than we have been is Tennessee Volunteers coach Rick Barnes. The Vols have just won their 4th in a row. Now, they were big favorites tonight against Ole Miss. They won 84-66. But look, when this season started, and I'll hold my hand up. I was like, man, damn, Rick Barnes, is this finally the year where the era catches up to him? They didn't do enough in the portal. They maybe got Gillespie and they took a shot on a mint, but outside of that, what do they got? And now they've won 4 in a row. They're in the top 20 at Ken Palm. And it kind of feels to me, Coach Roberts, that they've stabilized here. And I just think this consistency of this program is what you have to marvel at. They're just always in the mix. They're always in that top 20 at Ken Palm. Even in a reloading year, there are the Tennessee Volunteers, as much as it pains me to say as a Memphian.
You know something? He's going to play his style. He does a great job of isolating guys. He does a great job of getting guys coming off screens. He does a great job of playing to his team's strengths, whatever that may be. The strength of their team is Gillespie and Ament to score. The other big guys know we're going to throw it to you. You're going to duck in. We're going to throw it to you in the paint. You're going to have to score from 2 feet. And you got to be physical and go rebound the ball. And then the only way you're going to get on the court is if you guard. You're going to guard. And I really think his teams that he had at Texas were always very talented, very good. We played against them for a number of years. But I never felt they were real physical. Okay, back in the day with PJ and those guys, they were. But the more recent teams, I didn't think they were physical. But ever since he's gone to Tennessee, his teams are physical, extremely physical. They chase you off of every screen. They're physical with you in the post. They're going to be physical with you on offense as well as defense. They do a great job of walling up and protecting the rim. So you got to give Coach a lot of credit. He stays to his beliefs and has done a great job doing it.
Rob?
Yeah, they certainly don't miss a day in the weight room. I'll tell you that much when you watch some of those guys play. Like they're hitting their benches, Norm. They're hitting their curls. Those guys look like they're beach ready. I will say the thing that has flipped this for them, and this is going to sound simplistic, but it is Nate Ament has turned into the Nate Ament that we thought he had the potential to be, right? Like
most definitely.
This was a kid that came in as a top 5 prospect, as a potential top 5 player in the NBA draft, top 5 pick in the draft. And the start of the year, like he didn't play bad, but it felt like he never really got out of third gear. I think he was adjusting to the physicality of this level. He was adjusting to the athleticism of this level. He was trying to figure out, he's not, you look at AJ DeBonce and you look at Darren Peterson, and those guys are freaks athletically. So they're able to get to their spots and elevate over defenders, whether or not these guys are 3, 4, 5, 6 years older than them. And Nate Ament's not really that. Like he's a little bit more smooth and fluid than he is someone that's like just uber explosive. And I think it took him a little while to figure out how he could get to his spot and deal with that physicality and that toughness. And now that he has, last 4 games, he's averaging 24.5 points, and they've won all 4. Last 6 games, he's averaging 23 points, and they're 5-1 in that stretch, have gotten to within a game and a half of first place in the SEC. And oh, by the way, Norm, they're the only team that's beaten Texas A&M in the SEC. The only team that's beaten them.
Wow.
Took double overtime, but they were able to get that job done. Like if you give Rick Barnes 2 guys that he could scheme something for to get them shots, and then give him 3 guys, it was like the old adage. I had a high school coach one time tell me that all he needs to be able to win in high school basketball is give me 2 really good basketball players and 3 football players, and we're going to win a lot of games. And it feels like that's kind of what Rick Barnes does. Give me 2 basketball players and 3 guys to go out there and be bullies on the block, and we're going to win a lot of games. And that's what they have now, and that's why they've kind of gotten clicking.
Yeah. And Norm, I want to make one last point about Rick Barnes, and I know that you can appreciate this because you lived it, you lived that life, and you saw the before NIL era, and you lived the post NIL era. I've seen coaches struggle with that transition. We look around the country; some coaches are making that transition really smoothly, some are not, and I just think Rick Barnes, to have been in it for as long as he has, he's an experienced guy, right? He's up there, but to have basically not even seen a drop off, like managing that transition as well as he has. Like they're 16th at KenPom, Norm, and this is a down year for Tennessee. So I just tip my hat to the fact that he's adjusted and adapted, as well, honestly, as any coach, no matter how young they are in the country.
You know what he's done? He's got a philosophy, it looks like to me, in that, okay, we're gonna pay somebody, we're gonna pay 2 guys. 2 guys that are gonna be our elite guys. They're gonna get paid. Now, I'm gonna also go get some really good players. We're not gonna pay those guys as much, but we're gonna pay 2 guys and say, okay, these guys are gonna be our stars. And he's done a great job with that. Now, no one thought Connect was going to be where Connect was. Now Chaz, people thought Chaz was going to be really good, no doubt. But no one thought Connect was going to be what he was. But he's done a great job, and his staff has done a great job of evaluating talent that fits what he wants.
You know what I love about it too, Norm? You see a lot of guys that that have a run at a school and then kind of get forced out, right? I don't know if it was forced out, however you want to phrase it. Like it runs its course, and you got to go find something new, and you end up at another high major job. And a lot of times you look at it and it's like, oh, that's his retirement job, or he's just going there to cash a couple more paychecks. To be able to make sure that he could buy his beach house or buy his yacht or whatever it ends up being, right? And that kind of felt like that might be what it was going to be for Rick going to Tennessee, and it's been the opposite. Like his tenure now, to me, is defined by what he's done at Tennessee. Like he's turned this program into one where right now, Tennessee is, what are they? They're 15-6 overall. They're 6-3 in the SEC. They're a top 25 team in the AP poll, and they're a top 20 team on KenPom. And that's a down year. That's a year where we're like, yeah, it's not, Rick didn't do his best. Like that's a career year for a lot of coaches. And this is a down year now for Rick Barnes at Tennessee. And it's good for him, man. Good for him.
Good for him, for sure.
Well
Again,
deserved.
as much as it pains me to say, he's doing a great job this year, no question about it. All right, Jacoby Gillespie is a big part of that. Had 20 tonight in the win against Ole Miss. We had a chance to catch up with Jacoby, and here's a few minutes with the Tennessee guard.
And now let me welcome onto the field of 68 after dark, Jacoby Gillespie, who had 20 points tonight in an 84-66 win over Ole Miss. Jacoby, man, you guys have now won 4 in a row. How have you kind of gotten this thing rolling after, a little bit of a rough start in the SEC?
I think I would say just learning how to play for a full 40 minutes, because we've had every game we've been good at neither the first or the second half, just haven't put it together. And also Nate Ament, he's playing to his ability now. He's stepped up a lot, and he's really helping us a lot.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about him because we heard a lot. We saw him in high school. We knew the hype. And I don't want to say it was a rough start, but it kind of felt like he didn't get out of third gear for a little while, right? But then the last 4 games, he's averaged 24.5 points. Last 6, he's averaged 23 points. And, games like tonight, you see it and you're like, oh, okay, I get it now. I see it.
Yeah.
Have you seen that all year long in practice?
Yeah, I would say in practice he's coaches really hard on him and gets him in a lot of situations that are supposed to be hard, and he's overcame it recently, and yeah, it's showing. Like he's really unguardable if he's playing how he plays. So really just learning, I think learning his spots and learning how to keep shooting.
When he is playing like this, what does it do to, the ceiling for this group for how good you guys can be?
I mean, I think with him playing like this, we can be as good as we want to be. I mean, he's one of the best players in the country, and I mean that tonight just shows that. So, I mean, yeah, it definitely helps us.
As a point guard, as the guy that's kind of in charge of making sure he gets the ball where he wants it, right? How can you help him keep this streak going? Is it just a matter of, all right, I know where he wants the ball. I got to make sure he gets in this set. Is it a matter of telling Coach Barnes, hey, let's run this because Nate is hot and let's keep him going? Like how do you help him stay on this run?
I mean, just going up to him, asking him what he wants. I've done that a couple times now, just seeing uh, what he wants to run. Because I mean, if he gets the ball, I know he has a chance to score, and also just being on that side when I throw it into him, being right there, so they can't really help. If they do, then he'll kick it out. So I feel like we've got a good two-man connection going like that.
You've been around the sport for a while. You've been in a number of different programs, and you also are a Tennessee kid. So you kind of understand the level of expectation at this program, right?
Yep.
And I think it says a lot about where Tennessee is right now that a 2-3 start in league play is like people are asking questions about it, right?
Yeah, sure.
When you're going through that rough stretch, what did you guys do to be able to keep the faith and kind of keep the positive momentum? Because it's really easy to kind of get down on yourself, especially with the way that the Kentucky game went. How did you guys keep it together? Because I think it's really impressive after that loss to reel off 4 in a row like you did.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to. We had to look ourselves in the mirror before film after that Kentucky loss before we went to Bama. Uh, we had a talk, and also Zakai Ziegler, he was on the Zoom call telling us what it takes to do this in the SEC, and that's just staying together, playing together, knowing the officials going to be against us, the other team's going to be against us. We just got to be together. I think that's really what's really helping us.
And when Zakai talks, you listen, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he was here 4 years and was a winner, so you got to listen.
You are, I mentioned it, you're a Tennessee kid, you're from Greenville. How cool is it to be wearing that jersey, to be wearing that orange, to be wearing those pinstripe pants?
Yeah, I mean, it's super cool. It's like a dream come true. Just seeing that as a kid, you always dream and want to be a part of it. So to finally be a part of it, it's definitely exciting. And yeah, I'm just blessed to be here.
I'm assuming you were a Vols fan growing up, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you sing Rocky Top every day? Because I was told we got a guy that works with us named Terrence Oglesby, who's from Cleveland, Tennessee, and he said that they don't have a national anthem there. The national anthem is Rocky Top. Is that accurate?
I would say, nah, that's not accurate.
No?
we sing it a lot though, for sure.
All right, last thing I got for you. The Super Bowl is on Sunday. I've heard from a couple of different sources that you were a pretty good football player back in the day. Is that true?
Yeah, for sure. I was pretty good.
What position did you play?
I was a receiver and a cornerback, but I was recruited as a receiver.
Give me a comp. Like what kind of receiver are we talking about? Are we talking like Calvin Johnson? Are we talking Wes Welker? What am I
I
working
was
with
like
here?
probably like a Jerry Judy, Justin Jefferson type. I'm that build. Yeah, I'll probably say them too.
If you had stuck with football, where did you have offers from? You said you had offers, right?
Senior year, I didn't have any till senior year, and I got Vanderbilt and then Virginia Tech, and then I had all the ACC and a lot of SEC schools start following me, but I shut it down because I was already committed to play basketball.
Why did you why basketball over football? Why was that the direction?
Uh, Really, I've always liked basketball more. I worked harder in basketball, just being in the gym all the time, and I didn't really put that work in for football, and I don't think I loved it like I did basketball.
Yeah, well, I think you made a pretty good decision here. Sticking
So,
with hoops, man. Congratulations on the win. Keep this thing rolling because college basketball is at its best when Tennessee's rolling. Jacoby Gillespie, 20 points tonight. Appreciate you being here, man.
yes, sir. Thank you.
Thanks to Jacoby Gillespie for joining us, or joining Rob, I should say, a little bit earlier tonight. We're going to go back-to-back interviews because we're now pleased to be joined by NC State's Darrion Williams, a come-from-behind second half win for the Wolf Pack. They get it done 84-83. Darrion had 25. Darrion, thanks for being with us, man. Down 8.5. What flipped in the second for you guys?
I think we were just able to get stops and get rebounds, and a couple of the shots that we were shooting in the second half that we made, we just were missing in the first half. So we just wanted to stick with it, and I think our competitive level rose in the second half, and that was the difference.
Darrion, you guys got off to a little bit of a slow start this year. Like December wasn't the best month that you guys have ever had, but you're sitting here now. I believe it's 8-2 in the SEC. You've reeled off 5 straight wins. One of them was at Clemson. You got yourself in a position where you're going to be in the mix for an ACC regular season championship. How have you guys kind of turned this year around and gotten yourself to this point?
I think we didn't just overreact to the bad losses we might have had, but we just stayed the course and kept doing what we're doing. I mean, I don't think anything really changed. I think we just started playing harder, really, as a team, and we had a couple of team meetings just talking about we need to be more connected because I feel like we were playing a lot of everybody was playing for themselves. We weren't playing as a team, and then I just think guys stepped up. Everybody kind of understood their role once we got to conference play, and then we just got better since then.
Hey, Darrion, and this is Coach Rob. Hey, you got me out of coaching, man. Now I got to be doing the TV stuff at Kansas. So you got me out of coaching. You scored so many points against us, dude. Hey, congratulations on the win. Hey, does Coach want to get you the ball inside to start off the second half to get you going and everything?
I mean, for this game, yeah, they called it for me. Wherever they want me to score, it was to score. Or they were sending the double from the big most of the time, so it probably was more to pass, but I was shooting that one regardless.
6-0 on the road in conference, Darrion. How do you do it? What makes you guys, capable of going out there and handling business like that when you're away from home?
I think just like I said earlier, kind of our togetherness, and we know playing on the road is a lot harder than playing at home, even though we've played better on the road, which is weird. But I think we just know we have to be together, and we just keep our routine. Whether it's the teams that may not have the good of a record, we know if they can come out and have a spark at home, and SMU was a really good team at home, and we just outplayed.
You had 25 tonight, right? Over your last 3 games, you're averaging 23 points. The shot's starting to go down a little bit. Earlier on in the year, there was some noise, right? There was some rumblings, like why isn't he performing the way we expected? Like where's the Darrion Williams that we were kind of promised? And you fought through that. How rewarding is it now to kind of be able to showcase who you are and what you can be as a basketball player here?
Yeah, I mean, people speaking doesn't really bother me. I mean, everybody's got their opinion. If I was playing, when I played great or played good, people say good things. If I played bad, people bad things. They did the same thing last year when I was at Tech, coming from a winning program. I already knew. I think I was more prepared for it than probably other people. But I mean, that stuff doesn't really bother me. It's because everybody's has their own opinion. Anybody can type that on the internet, and a lot of it's burners anyway. I think it's funny personally.
A lot of it's burners. Go ahead, Norm.
Well, Darrion, hey, how can you guys keep this up? Because now you're going to have some tough games coming up soon. What do you think that your team needs to improve on when you start playing some of the upper level teams in the ACC?
I think offensively, don't have like wasted possessions to where we get super stagnant, and then it's just one guy trying to go score. And then defensively, no lapses and rebound better. And also just taking it game by game. We play Virginia Tech, then we play I think Louisville on Monday. So, but just make sure our full focus is on Virginia Tech, and then after that game, then we can take it game by game.
All right, I gotta let you know, Darren. We have within the world of Field of 68, there is a gentleman's agreement here, a gentleman's wager between Jeff Goodman and former North Carolina Tar Heel John Henson, where if you guys finish in the top 4 of the ACC regular season standings, Jeff gets to pick one picture that has to be in the background of John Henson's TV shot for an entire year. All right. So 1, I need you to finish top 4, and 2, do you think Goodman needs a little bit of help selecting that photo? And what would you want in John Henson's background?
Just a big fat head, a fat picture of Will Wade. That's all he needs.
There you have it. Hey, Darrion, congrats on the win, man. Appreciate the time as always.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Thanks, man.
Here's Darrion Williams. 25 tonight in the win on the road at SMU. And yeah, Rob, I mean, they're 6-0 on the road. They're undefeated in conference play on the road. I don't take that lightly. I mean, I think that says, quite a bit about the composure of that team. And I think when you start thinking about NCAA tournament, that's the thing, right? You got to be able to win away from home. And this NC State team is showing they can do that.
Yeah. Look, I'll be honest. I never got off the Kansas bandwagon, right? I've been saying the whole year that I think this is a team that can make a run, championship contender, all that. I wavered when it came to NC State earlier on, and I regret ever doubting Will Wade. They've figured something out here. They figured out a way to be able to get Darrion in positions where he could be a little bit more of a threat offensively. And look, we got to shout out Quadir Copeland, man. I don't think I've ever seen this stat line before. 7 points, 10 rebounds, 16 assists, and 0 turnovers. This is not a perfectly constructed roster, but there is talent on this roster. And Norm, it kind of feels like they are figuring out, and that staff and Will is figuring out how to be able to get these guys in positions to be able to be effective and take advantage of the strengths that they do have.
Yeah, I do. I think they're doing a great job of that. Matt Abel coming off the bench gave them points tonight, made some big shots. There's different guys that are stepping up at different times. I think the one thing that could be a concern with State is, can they rebound the ball against bigger teams? Because they're not very tall. They're not very tall. So they're going to have to change up. They're going to have to trap. They're going to have to do them things, which Will does a lot of different defenses. So I think that's going to be the biggest concern for them when they go up against some bigger, more physical teams inside. But right now, they're playing on all cylinders. They can make shots from anywhere on the floor. And Copeland is the key to that team. He keeps everybody calm. Even when he gets a little crazy, he keeps everybody calm and everything. And Darrion Williams, he's very good under pressure. He's very good under pressure. He plays his best.
By the way, he's not actually the reason why you're sitting with us tonight, is he? I mean, you put it on him. I mean, I know he had that big game.
Yeah, he got me out of coaching. That guy made the biggest 3 beating us at Kansas. He drove me nuts. He makes the one thing about Williams, I'm telling you, he does make big shots. He makes big shots, and he is not afraid of the moment. He's not afraid of the moment, and neither is Copeland.
Yeah. They, Darrion's shooting it really, really well the last few games. And, I mean, look, this NC State team is good. And, we'll see kind of where it lands, by the time the tournament rolls around. But, again, nice win on the road tonight against SMU, no question about it. All right, we have a lot more to get to. St. John's, I would say, avoided what I'd call the landmine. You got that big game coming up at the Garden on this weekend, and they avoided the landmine at DePaul. So, keeping everything kind of tight as they prepare for that one this weekend. We'll get to it when we get back. Field of 68 After Dark.
As you know by now, we have teamed up with BetMGM again this season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we will have special offers for Field of 68 fans, including same-game parlays, best-in-class live betting, and daily odds boost. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. You download the BetMGM app. You sign up using bonus code FIELD. You deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use that bonus code FIELD when you sign up. Make this college basketball season one for the history books. Make it legendary. And don't forget, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code FIELD and get your $1,500 first bet offer today.
Are you trying to follow everything happening in college basketball? It can be overwhelming. That's where the Field of 68 Daily comes into play. The Daily is your go-to source for recruiting news, game analysis, portal updates, and much, much more. For just $50 a year, you get access to the same information that your favorite coaching staff is subscribed to. Quality content can be hard to find in the college basketball space. The Daily is here to help. Make sure you subscribe today.
Welcome back, Field of 68 After Dark. We're on Sirius XM. We're on YouTube. We're on X. John Martin, Norm Roberts, Rob Dauster here with you tonight. And as soon as this show is over, we're going to head over to the afters, like always, on YouTube to clean up what we missed. I don't know how much we missed tonight. I think we covered most of it, but sometimes Trevor sends us questions, which I enjoy. I enjoy the Trevor questions. They're one of my favorite parts about the gig here. So maybe a little bit later in the show. By the way, if Jacoby Gillespie, if his NFL comp is Justin Jefferson, brother, you are playing the wrong sport. Right? I mean, I thought he would have like a humble one, like an Amendola, or this guy comes out with damn the best receiver in the game. That was crazy.
John, you missed it though. On Saturday, when we asked Norm about playing pickup football back in Queens, he said that he was the Barry Sanders of the blacktop. That's what he said.
Hey,
I could really change direction.
I'm going to take him at his word for sure. But yeah, I just didn't expect Jacoby to say, yeah, I'm something like a mix between, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, it was nuts. That was nuts. Anyway, good to catch up with him earlier tonight. All right. St. John's. We have not talked yet about St. John's. Again, trying to preserve that record before taking on UConn at the Garden. 68-56. It was kind of ugly, but they did pull away in the second half. So they moved to 17-5. They're 10-1 in the Big East. They've now won 8 in a row. So Rob, this matchup this weekend at the Garden, what St. John's got to do? What do they have to do to, get in the way of UConn's unbeaten record in the Big East here?
I think that they have to make it be a game that's going to get played at their pace, right? I think that they have to enforce their identity on the game, because what UConn wants to do, you see some of the scoring numbers and you think about what they are offensively and think like they want to get up and down and they want to run. To me, I don't know if this sounds crazy, but they're a little similar to what those Tony Bennett Virginia teams were, in that they're going to lock you up defensively, and then they're going to get it up, and they're going to try to run offense for like 18 to 20 to 22 seconds and get a good shot at the end of that. And part of the effectiveness is it kind of frustrates you. It makes you guard for a long time, but it frustrates you on the defensive end of the floor because it just they'll run stuff and run stuff and run stuff and run stuff, and you feel like you're playing well defensively, and all of a sudden they get a good shot with 7 seconds left on the shot clock. That's just a backbreaker. They've struggled. UConn struggled with turnovers, and the one thing St. John's can do is force turnovers, and they can get out in transition, and they can play on the break, and they can allow guys like Dylan Mitchell to utilize his athleticism, and they can get themselves open threes for Osiah Sellers and transition opportunities against a not set defense for someone like a Bryce Hopkins. I think that's what. If I'm Rick Pitino, and I'm very, I'm coaching my ass off when it comes to 10U travel basketball here in South Jersey, but I'm far from Rick Pitino. But if I'm Rick Pitino, that's what I would be trying to do in this game. Get it sped up, get it a little bit ugly, force some turnovers, make it so UConn is uncomfortable. And I think that's how they can have success here.
Coach, I know DePaul has definitely improved from 4, 5, 6 years ago. But again, psychologically, You got this one kind of sitting there before the game against the Huskies. Like how challenging is a game like this on the road where you're a pretty sizable favorite, to go in there and not stub your toe before the big one this weekend.
Well, I think it's a challenge, but you take one game at a time. Coaches don't look past games, and they make sure their team doesn't. Especially when you're on the road, you're playing at somebody else's place. It's going to be a tough environment, and if you don't come in ready to play, you can get beat. And Rick knows that better than most any coaches. I think he maybe top 5 greatest coaches of all time. So the one thing that they wanted to do, they wanted to play their style. And the one thing that St. John's is doing, I'm telling you, they are guarding. They are defending, and they're getting in passing lanes. They're disrupting people. I really thought Hopkins tonight played with a ton of energy. He was the most energetic I've seen him, the whole time. I think that obviously Zuby's going to give you great energy getting on the glass. I think what Zuby and Hopkins are going to try to do is maybe play out on the perimeter some and try to drive UConn's bigs and get him in foul trouble rather than just playing back to the basket with him, kind of drive on him. Now, I do think Hopkins is going to try to post Carabon. I think he's going to do that and try to be physical with him inside. The biggest key for St. John's is they've got to get perimeter shooting. They've got to make some perimeter shots because UConn's defense is too good. It's too good. They're going to force you into some guarded shots, and you have to be able to make those. So, like Rob was talking about, I think with St. John's, they're going to want to get in transition. Try to play fast, get it up and down. Don't let UConn get their defense set every single time. That's going to be important for them to have a shot in beating them.
Yeah, if you got to take the ball through the net and take it out of bounds, then UConn's won. Even if it's a turnover that's not a live ball turnover, UConn's won that possession because they get to go back and they get to set their defense. The point you made about Bryce Hopkins, when he was at Providence, that was the nightmare matchup for Alex Caravan his first 2 seasons at UConn. The big physical fours that can step out on the perimeter and shoot, but can also kind of like play bully ball a little bit. And I think that's where Bryce is at his best, like in the mid post, where he can kind of put his shoulder into you and play off of it. That like he's got a killer spin move where he can go and he'll dunk on you if you're not careful. So that will be a really interesting matchup to me because there's a lot of like built up rivalry there over the years between Bryce and Alex Caravan. So I'm fascinated to see how that plays out. But yeah, I think that's, if you're going to circle a lot of the matchups that are interesting here, there's a lot of them. I think that's the one where if you're St. John, you have to win that matchup if you're going to win this game.
It's a big one. It's a big one on Friday. I love Friday night hoops, by the way. Like this feels like a recent change that we've gotten to in college basketball where we're putting, we had Michigan State last Friday. This Friday, we're going to have UConn and St. John's. So I'm a big fan of the Friday hoops situation that we've got now. All right, Miami, we got to do it. We got to touch on Miami. They did it again. They hold off Buffalo on the road and they keep their undefeated streak alive. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be nice about Miami. Like I got an angel on my shoulder and I got a devil on my shoulder. Okay. So I'm going to listen to the angel and I'm going to say that Miami, Ohio stays undefeated, Rob Dauster. And eventually are they going to lose?
You know what? You've been spending too much time with it. There was a point in time, John, where you actually like enjoyed the wonderful stories about the sport and the weird things that happen that can only happen in college basketball. And we got a team, we got Miami of Ohio, coached by a guy that was run out of Xavier, whose older brother is the coach of the best program in that conference, and he's rolling through it. And he's sitting here undefeated in the league, and he beat his brother already. And they got a chance to be able to run the table. They win 8 more games. They will go 31-0. Right? They are more than 75% of the way to a perfect regular season. And all you can sit here and say is, I'm just trying not to say that they suck. Yeah.
I'm not trying to say they suck.
Look, you know what? I'm instituting a policy right now. This is the policy I'm instituting right now. John Martin is
You gotta
only
clear
allowed to
this with
speak to
Goodman.
Jeff Goodman. You're only allowed to speak once a week. We got to get rid of that Goodman influence, so you can go back
That's
to loving
crazy.
the sport of college basketball, John.
Okay, all right. My issue here is that if you give Miami an at-large as an 11 seed, they're going to be a 16-point dog to the 6 seed. But carry on. They are undefeated. Have they played anybody? No. They are undefeated though. So I mean, I just think every team should schedule Division II teams. I mean, they played quarter of their wins are against D2 teams, Norm.
Hey,
the one thing I would say though,
ask Boise State about that.
They still got to win the games. They do. They still have to win the games, and they have won some games. Obviously, the last few they've won some tight games where they've had to make play. Now, maybe the other team gave it to them a little bit, but they've had to make shots, make plays, and this is something crazy. Billy Gillespie was at Texas A&M his first year. And when he was there, he played the whole SWAC. And I called him one day and said, dude, you guys are awesome. He goes, yep, we just won the SWAC. He said, we just won. I'm playing every team there. And everybody said they were playing nobody and nobody and nobody. But then what happens is your team gets confidence. They learn how to win. They know what to not to do and lose, and they gain more and more confidence. So, that would still bode well to help them in the NCAA tournament. So I think they are a really good team. They're a really good team.
Well, then
and they can only play in front of them.
What we're gonna do? We're gonna send you, Coach Roberts, and we're gonna send Rob Dauster out to Miami, Ohio home games, and we're gonna do a live after dark from there, since you guys love this team so much.
Done.
I wouldn't say I'm in love with the team, but you got to respect what they've done, because no matter what, it's hard to be undefeated.
Before you say no, just remember, Travis Steele after wins buys drinks at the bar. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, let's do toast. Speaking of drinks at the bar, let's do some toast. Let's get some toast real quick, Rob.
I'm toasting Miami of Ohio, 23-0. Dunked on your head, John.
Yep. There you go. Norm?
I'm going to go with Nate Ament tonight. I thought Nate Ament played with force. I thought he was aggressive. I thought this probably was maybe the best night he's had in his short career, and I think he's about to take off. Nate Ament.
Yeah, it's a strong draft. Before the season started, obviously he was probably a consensus top 6 to 7 pick. He's fluctuated a little bit since then. But it definitely feels like, after the last 4 games, he had 28 tonight. It definitely feels like with his size, I can just see him having a strong finish of the season, going to the combine, maybe working his way back into that top 7, because the skill set and the talent there is obviously undeniable. Hey, that's going to do it for us on Sirius XM. And we're going to head over to the afters. And I don't know if Trevor has anything for us. We're going to find out. But thanks for hanging with us here on Sirius XM. For Rob Dodge, for Norm Roberts, I'm John Martin. Head on over to YouTube to join us.
These my DJ Burns things I had for us. Taking them into the depths of Alaska and just dropping them off.
The first person that's going to die got to be one of the black guys. They're not going to make it to the end of the movie.
That's like asking somebody, do they want to get a prostate exam or a damn gunshot wound?
Welcome back. I should say welcome to the afters here on the field of 68. I'm John Martin, joined tonight by Norm Roberts, Coach Norm Roberts, and Coach Rob Dauster. His career as a 10 and under coach is underway. I'm seeing the highlights. Norm, when is it appropriate to start posting highlights of your children? Is it like 10 years old? Should you wait until they're teenagers? What's just your policy on that from a social media standpoint?
I didn't post any highlights of my son, to be honest, with my 2 sons, but I have seen them as early as 7 or 8.
Okay.
7 or 8 year olds.
So.
Hey,
now, Rob, you're doing that for family, right? Or is that tape for the coaches?
So you stream it on Game Changer so that parents that aren't at the game can watch it. But Norm, my son the other day crossed the dude up at the 3-point line, drives left, finishes lefty, and won, and flexed afterwards. I posted on an Instagram story. I feel like I got 300 followers on Instagram, and it's all friends and family. Like, I feel like that's justified. I'm not sending it to Balder's wife. I'm not sending it to Balder's life.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just, there's a fine line. There is a right, coach. There's a fine line. It starts out like that, and then it's like, hey, my son needs to be, Big 12.
So, I'll settle for making his high school team at some point. That's where we're at right now. All right.
So you're in good territory. I like where your head's at. All right. Do we have questions from the Peanut Gallery for the afters here?
We do. So Chad, get your questions in. We're also going to wait for Indiana USC to finish up. We'll hit on that as well here in the afters. But Trevor, based on our conversation about Miami of Ohio, has a question for us. What's better heading into your tournament game as a double-digit seed, going 23-0 on the 332nd ranked schedule, or losing 6 bye games by 15 but being battle-tested?
Norm, I'm going to see to you on that one first.
I would say being 23-0, because I think you can learn a lot. You can learn from losing too, but I think you can build that confidence by winning. That's the scariest thing in a tournament. That first game in the tournament, and I had an opportunity to go through that one year when coach got sick and wasn't able to coach that first game. And I'm telling you, that first day of the NCAA tournament, when you're playing, you have to realize almost everybody that's playing, or the teams that you may be playing, those teams that got in on an automatic bid or whatever it is, they are champions. They're champions, and they feel like champions, and they're going to play like a champion. So if you don't come out and play the right way right away, it is going to be a tough game. That is the toughest game in the tournament, is that first day. And I think if you have a team that's on 123 in a row and is playing well, that's going to bode well for them more than somebody that got beat up on playing bye games.
This is going to sound crazy, but I don't think that it matters, right? I think what's significantly more important than your results is your team actually good, right? Like, do you have guys that can make shots? Do you have guys that can win, right? Because there's a lot, like, anything can happen in a long college basketball season. It's weird. I think you just got to have the better team. Is that a bad answer? I feel like that's a bad answer to that question, John. You're giving me.
I don't even know what you're saying.
Just have talent, man. Like, whatever it is,
you just have the better team. I mean, that's
give me the team with talent. I don't care what you've done during the season. Give me the team with better players.
Hey, Trevor, let us know if that answers the question for you. I don't think we found the formula. Yeah, we'll try to.
Norm
get better.
Gave us the formula. Norm gave us the formula.
He did. You guys pack your bags. You can go watch that team that plays the 332nd schedule in America live up and personal. You guys love it so much.
All in on the Red
That's
Hawks.
just what kills me. They've beaten 4 Division II teams. It's like this is kind of a joke. It's kind of a joke. I'm sorry.
They're 23-0.
4 of the 23 are against Division II teams.
They've won 19 Division I games. They're undefeated in the MAC. Go find.
Okay, I mean, legitimately, how many of those 19 are against teams that have a pulse right now? Like how? Like 5?
Everything.
No, not all of them. Not all of them.
Every single one of those teams is alive and breathing and well with a heartbeat and a pulse. I promise you.
I don't know. It's just hard for me. It's hard for me to look at a man who coached at St. John's, who was a longtime assistant under Bill Self at Kansas, and try to say that this is the same thing. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I can't do it.
But they're winning at the level that they're at those are the teams they have to compete against. You gotta respect it.
You don't have to
respect
compete
it.
against D2, Norm. You don't got to do that.
Well, hey, everybody plays a couple of cushion games. Now, not as much anymore, but everybody did it at one time.
Yeah.
What's
Well,
the
again,
difference,
I mean,
John?
listen.
John, here's my question: what's the difference between Miami of Ohio playing a Division II team and Kansas playing Green Bay?
Well, Green Bay is not Division II.
But it might as well be.
I mean, it's not Division II, though. And by the way, Green Bay vastly improved this year.
I know.
I mean,
they're actually good.
Green Bay
was a bad example. I just pulled up the page, and it was the first one on the schedule, and I felt like giving a little shot at Gottlieb. That's my guy. So,
but bad year to do it. Maybe last year you get that joke off, but that's a credible program now. So I mean, the difference is Kansas actually
an anti-Ken Palm program is what they are now.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But again, I'm going to give him his flowers on the turnaround that he's had this year, because last year it looked disastrous. But Kansas actually goes out and they play Tennessee. They're gonna be in those preseason events. You know, you're trying to come to the table. Oh, Miami beat Huey, Dewey, and Louie tonight to move to 20-0, and it's like, I mean, again, I'll treat it like it's happening, but obviously you guys know where I stand ultimately.
Normally the MAC has been a very good league over the last 4 or 5 years. Been very good and had quite a few good teams. I just think maybe this year it might be a little down this year.
Yeah.
Sometimes leagues that happens.
Yeah, no, and they're winning, so credit to them. All right, anything else? What else we got, Dave? I know we're waiting on Indiana. Has that gone final just yet?
We got about 45 seconds left in that game. So
looks like USC is going to polish it off here, but who knows? Anything can happen.
While we wait for that to finish up, a couple people in the chat want to talk about Virginia's win today. 20-point victory over a struggling Pittsburgh program.
Wow, baby.
Ooh. Pitt.
Yeah. Virginia, I think, is maybe the second best team in the ACC. I think Virginia's got a really good team. I know Carolina beat them, but I think Virginia's got a really good team. I think they've got guys that can score the ball, they can shoot it. They've got great size. Pittsburgh's been struggling. They've been struggling. They've been in some games, in the beginning of the game, and then they kind of faltered late. But I think Virginia's a very dangerous team that could easily get to a Sweet 16.
Yeah, because they got the size, they got the athletes. They got a guy who averaged 16 points a game at Toledo last year. John, you know where Toledo is?
Yeah, it's Ohio.
Yeah,
at the MAC, yes.
In the MAC. Yeah, Toledo's in the MAC, but the MAC's not good enough. He's averaging 10 points a game.
No, the MAC is. I mean, I'd play it right. Honestly, it's comparable to the Big East. The way you guys have been dragging ass, I'd say it's right there. No, I mean, I do think, like, not to belabor the point, I've become such a cynic in my old age that I need to, appreciate the wackiness that college basketball offers. I don't need to, I mean, obviously I don't think everybody thinks that Miami is some national championship contender, but it's a nice story. So I need to get back to appreciating those. So I'll work on that. I'll work on that. Pitt, however,
you can smile every once in a while.
Pitt is not a nice story. Pitt is a flaming piece of crap right now. I mean, it seems like they just keep getting worse.
Yeah, I guess. Norm.
I mean, we don't talk about Pitt, I guess.
Norm. No, hold on. I just want Norm. Can you bring up the box score real quick? And can you tell me who the leading scorer was for Pitt? Do you have it in front of you?
I do not have that in front of me. I could try to get it for you.
I'm going to text you a link right now, and I want you to tell me who this guy is.
He played. Yeah, he played at Iowa State for a year. Transfer.
Yeah.
I think he's a kid out of Chicago. Matter of fact.
Yeah, he is. What's his name?
And I am not pronouncing his name. No. If he played for us, his nickname would be Ni. What's up, Ni? That's what I would call.
There you go.
Well, we need more from him. We need more from him on that team.
Yeah. We need
There's no doubt about it. Because 47, brother. Whew, that is that was, and I appreciated your incisive analysis, by the way, on Pitt. What are you anti Jeff Capel? You don't want to give it any oxygen? I mean, I'm waiting on the bottom here with Pitt, but they seem to find new lows every game.
I mean, once it kind of goes that direction, I think it's very hard to dig out of that hole. You know, the hard thing is when you have a certain level of expectation for what your season's going to be and it goes sideways. And now, like, what are you playing for? Right? Are you playing for like ACC tournament seed? You're not winning the ACC tournament. Are you playing for the pride of the program? Like, who cares? These guys are going to be transferring anyways. Like, I think once you get yourself in that hole in this era, because the hard thing is there's no pride in the program, right? When you're there for a year and then you're going to leave afterwards, there's no pride in the jersey. There's no pride in the, we got to make sure that people respect the basketball program at this university because I've been here for 4 years. So, it's tough, man. It's tough once you kind of get that, when you get to that point. And I think that's where Pitt is right now with this season.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if any changes are made. But still waiting on USC and Indiana. It's a 2-point game, looks like, with about 30 seconds left. Anything else from the chat, Dagan?
Yes, speaking of Indiana, thought we were done with this name for a while, but I guess not. James in the chat wants to know, where do you think the next college basketball, or the college basketball, Kurt Cignetti, could end up? I
feel like we've already answered this question. Haven't we done like a version of this at some point? I don't know.
Who's the college basketball Kirk Cignetti?
Yeah, who could it be?
Isn't it Dusty May right now? Like, Dusty May went from a really good program at FAU to Michigan, and now he's got Michigan as like the number one team. It's not quite what Indiana football is, but wouldn't it be Dusty May? No? Is that crazy?
He was at FAU for a minute, right? I mean, he was there for several years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's close. I mean, he's not the same age, but I mean, going from, that FAU job to Michigan is a crazy jump. I mean, that is insane, Coach Roberts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, he also took his team to a Final Four.
Yeah.
FAU. You know what I'm saying? So he had played on the national level against really, really good teams. So to say, was he going to be able to duplicate that and play at that level or coach at that level at Michigan? He could.
What's hard about it is how often do we see those guys that are kind of hyped up as the next great coaching prospect, like, actually live up to that level of it? Like, everybody wanted to hire Shaka Smart when he was at VCU right after the Final Four, and it took a while, and everyone tried to get him, and he eventually went to Texas, and like, he was good at Texas, but he wasn't
right.
He wasn't necessarily competing for national championships at Texas, which is what we thought. Archie Miller was great at Dayton, and he was at Dayton for like 8 years, and everybody wanted him, and he gets to Indiana, and he was fine, but he wasn't what Indiana fans wanted him to be, right? And I think Dusty going from FAU as the guy that everybody needs to hire, like Louisville wanted him, Indiana probably wanted him, and he ends up at Michigan, and year one has a good year two has them in a position to win a national championship. That doesn't really happen. Like, when I off the top of my head, I don't even know, like, who was the last guy that was that hyped up that actually lived up to that potential, putting his team in a national championship picture. It's been a while, right?
The one thing I would tell you, there's such a fine line between who's going to be the next great coaches and who doesn't make it. It could be 2 bounces of the ball. It could be a half-court shot. It could be a fadeaway. Whatever it is that propels someone to that next level. in those things. And then once you get to that next level, do you have all the things you need to be as successful as you want to be at that time? Is everybody on the same page? Do you have the talent? Can you get the talent? Now, can you afford the talent? There's a lot of things that go into play. And, Dusty, obviously did a great job in, trying to pick which job he wanted, and he picked the right one. That's really been great for him.
Well, and I do think the what we should mention is that if we're going to go the Cignetti route, what made Curt Cignetti and this entire year so crazy is that he didn't take a blue blood job. Dusty took a blue blood job at Michigan. Nobody in a million years, we could play this lifetime out 1,000 times, nobody would have ever said that Indiana football would win a national championship, ever.
Yep.
And so I think that's the hard part, right? Is that, look, if you're a good coach, you go to a program with elite resources and tradition like Michigan, you're going to do a good job, right? It's who's the coach that took a job that doesn't have those plaudits, that doesn't have those resources maybe, or the tradition that is and I think that's the hard thing to figure out, right? That's the hard. I don't know that there is a guy necessarily that is.
There's never been. It's never been that quick, but there's been a couple. Like Baylor was. Think about what Baylor was when Scott Drew took that job over. Right now, it took him 20 years to win a championship, but within 5 or 6 years, he was at least like competing towards the top of the Big 12. I think about what UConn was before Jim Calhoun got there. It was like a little regional school in the middle of a cow pasture out there in Storrs, Connecticut. Like, there's no reason that you should win 6 national championships in Storrs, Connecticut. John, have you ever been to Storrs, Connecticut? Have you ever been there?
I've been to Bristol. I've been to Bristol once.
It's literally the only way that you can get there is like a 1-lane. It's not even a highway. It's like a 1-lane road that literally just drives through a bunch of cow pastures. And then all of a sudden, boom, there's the University of Connecticut there. There's no reason that should be a basketball powerhouse, but it is. What was Arizona before Lute Olson got there? Like, I think we've seen this in basketball before. It's how quick it flipped is the thing that is just, that's what's incredible about it, right? This is what, year 2, year 3, year 2? How long has he been there?
Dusty?
It's year 3, right? No, Cignetti.
Year 2. Yeah.
Yeah, year 2. Like,
wow.
That's the thing that's incredible about it. It's not that he was able to do it. We've seen that in basketball. Like, in 2 years, I don't think that's possible in hoops.
Right.
I don't think.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it just depends on resources. Cignetti got that fan base and that ambassador group fired up. That's another thing. I think you could do that, but if you're going to a school without that tradition, is that booster really out there that can change your program fundamentally? I don't know. I think Cignetti is like a lot of athletic directors are probably going to lose their jobs chasing the Ned Cignetti because he might be a one-of-one situation, to be honest. All right, we have a final. USC. How about these Trojans? 81-75 over Indiana. They get it done. Elijah Arenas is back, 29 points in 37 minutes. Cam Woods had 18. Again, I don't want to take away from what USC did because obviously they're playing better, Rob, but you start talking about these the east to west, it just feels like whatever direction the school that's traveling is going in, they just always have a hard time winning these kinds of games in the Big Ten.
Yeah, just get a split. Like, if you get a split when you're going to play at USC and UCLA, I think that you're happy with it, right? If you're Indiana, I think winning at UCLA made this kind of a free hit, right? Because you had to win over Purdue, you had to win at UCLA. Those are the two of the better teams, and then losing that's going to end up being a quad 1 loss on the road. And when they're sitting in that committee room talking about that loss, it's like, well, yeah, they were on the other side of the country and they lost one of them on the, like, it is what it is. How about Lamar Wilkerson, though? 33 points. He had 24 against UCLA. He's had at least 19 in 4 straight games. That he's playing at an all Big Ten first team caliber level right now. And there were a lot of questions about how good he was going to end up being there. He's kind of been the guy that's given them a floor, Indiana, and kind of kept them afloat here. Yeah. 33 points, man, at USC. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Hopefully Chad Baker-Mazara is okay. I don't know if you guys saw it, but he landed. It looked like it didn't look great. I don't know if we have an update on that yet, but hopefully he's all right.
So they won the game even without him playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a great.
They
that's
played
a great
better.
win.
They played.
He
better
played 20
afterwards.
minutes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a great win for them. The one thing about USC is on a given night they can play with anybody because they do have talent, they do have explosiveness, and they can play at a very, very high level. And Indiana, they're very talented. Wilkerson has been terrific. He's one of those guys in the portal. Everyone was saying, can he move up to that level? And he has really, really done that. He's got his name with NBA guys talking about him.
Yep. Yep. You look at USC, obviously they won at Wisconsin on the 25th. They beat Rutgers at home. They obviously just beat Indiana. I mean, they've been very competitive, right? Only lost by 5 to Purdue, lost by 1 to Iowa. So, I do feel like this team is improving. If the Chad Baker-Mazara injury is long term, that will be, obviously revisited. But they are definitely playing better basketball under Muss. All right, Dagan says he has one more thing. What you got, dog?
I do have one more thing. CJAJ in the chat is upset we have not talked about St. Louis tonight. So we're going to give CJAJ the parting game here and talk about St. Louis.
Yeah, look kind of dicey for him, right, Rob?
They dug a big hole and they started playing defense, and then Brady Dunlap caught absolute fire, and he had a couple big ones at the end of the first half. He had one where he came along the baseline and he's sprinting away from the rim in the corner and catches it while he's running away, squares his body up, and hits a fadeaway 3 with like 3 seconds left in the first half. And I have no idea how he's able to get himself balanced and set and able to make that shot. But they are now the team that everybody in the Atlantic 10 is looking at and saying that is going to be the game that we have to get to have a chance to get to the tournament. And so they're going to have to take some punches, and they're going to have to take some teams, giving them everything. They're the Super Bowl now for a lot of those teams in the Atlantic 10. And I mean, they would be sitting here if it wasn't for the craziest play, Norm, if it wasn't for the craziest play in college basketball this season. They were up they were up 3 with, I think, like 3 seconds left in the game, and they fouled up 3, and Stanford hit the first free throw, missed the second one intentionally, and it ended up bouncing around to the corner. They hit a ridiculous 3 in the corner to win the game at the buzzer. If that play doesn't happen, then St. Louis is sitting here undefeated right now, and all John Martin is doing is saying, this is not a good story. We should not be talking about this. All St. Louis has done is beat Southeast Missouri and beat Chicago State and beat Lindenwood and beat Purdue Fort Wayne and beat Loyola Marymount. Why should we care about this, Norm? Why should we care about it? That's what John Martin would be saying, because he doesn't love fun. He doesn't love winning.
Not the same. Not the same.
Not the
same. All right, that's St. Louis is an Atlantic 10 team. I respect. I have a little bit more respect for what they're doing. But they don't need nobody needs my respect. I'm just a guy. I'm just a talking head, Norm. So I got to keep it real with myself, man. I got to be honest with myself.
Respect,
so
I need your respect.
That's well, you just got to remember they got to win the games. They got to win the games. And everybody's playing.
They got to win the games.
It's hard. It's hard to win games.
It's hard.
It's hard to win games.
Well, a lot of coaches wouldn't get fired if it was easy.
That's right. That's right. All right. Is that it, Dagan?
Actually, I lied. We're going to do one fun question from Trevor. He gave me a nice long list, so we'll do one. Let me go find it here. Hold on. Here we go. If every human was assigned a theme song that played above them wherever they went, what song would you guys pick and why?
A theme song. Norm, what do you got?
Like, it's just like a song?
Yeah, theme song.
Oh, shoot. I'd need a lot more time to think about that. I have no clue.
I mean, you're trying to, in caps. I got to look at what's on my YouTube music. I got to see what I've been listening to.
YouTube music.
Yeah, it comes with YouTube Premium. You guys have no idea what you guys are all on your Apple Music and your Spotify. You just have no fucking clue what you're doing. I'm trying to be efficient and streamline everything. YouTube Music is literally no different than Apple Music or Spotify. It just doesn't get the love. It's not commercialized in that same way. That's a little tip. I don't know, man. Black Hole Sun, Soundgarden for me.
What?
Yeah, there
Black
you go.
Hole Sun.
There you go. Black Hole Sun, won't you come? There we go.
Sing it for us now.
So are you saying a song that you would want playing over your head that you want to hear, or something that's about you?
I think it's just whatever you want. Whatever you want, man. It doesn't have
whatever
to
you want, Norm. What do you want? What do you want playing over you?
So any song that Luther Vandross is singing, that's what I want over my head.
Okay,
that's what you want. I would want the second half of "Killing in the Name of" by Rage Against the Machine.
That checks out.
All you hear is everywhere I go like, "Fuck you! I won't do what you tell me." That's
there. You exactly. There you go.
I need.
All right, that's gonna do it. Here on the Field of 68. Make sure you keep it locked here on the network on the YouTube channel. Every night, we're going to have the best and most comprehensive college basketball coverage in the entire world. For Rob Dauster, for Norm Roberts, I'm John Martin. Have a great night.